everybody, welcome back to Ramblings. Conor here, and just before I start the video as well, guys, if you wouldn't mind liking the video, that'd be very, very appreciated. And also, if you haven't seen, I made a nice little skit on the motivation Leeds United need towards the back end of the season. It's called Be Heroes, and it's all about Leeds United getting into the last 18 games, the last 18 finals, doing it for Toby and doing it for everyone, you know, associated with the club. So if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. It's doing really well at the minute, over 200 likes. So you guys have had fantastic support with it, but please go like that and like this video before it starts. Let's get into it. So guys, Rotherham, in their last 6 games, they have won 1 game versus Preston. All those 6 include a 7-0 smash into City as well. Note that there's only sort of 1 win at home there. I like to look at the home form as well, but what I'm also going to get into is the last game, which was against Brentford. But it was an undeserved loss. They were decent. They played to their strengths, did Rotherham. A lot of long balls, a lot of throw-ins, a lot of set pieces that Brentford sort of struggled to deal with. But, you know, we've seen with Mepham this week, who's just been transferred for 12 million. He'll be out that Brentford squad for the future, but they've got some quality players there is what I'm getting at, and you know, the centre-halves there dealt with it quite well, but obviously Leeds have got issues in that department, so that could be something that Rotherham could exploit, and I'm sure will exploit with Leeds United. So 3 out of 14 losses at home this season, which is a pretty decent record. It's a very decent record. Say the team is in the bottom, sort of towards the bottom end of the table, but also when you look at their away record, they haven't won an away game since 2016, so that just shows how pivotal their home performances are. But they like to play attacking as well. Don't be thinking they're going to be sat back. No, they like to play through Will Vaulks and Michael Smith as well, and they like to get those chances through set pieces. A lot of shots on goal, which creates chances. It's a nice little method they've got. Sounds simple, but it is effective. Lots of shots on goal, deflections for corners, deflections, maybe a foul in the process. And they play to those, they play to the set pieces, they play to the long throws by Will Vaulks. So that is something that they will be very, very good at. They will create chances. They created chances versus Brentford, a Brentford side that haven't been beaten in 6, undefeated in 6, so they're in a very good vein of form. So it's not going to be an easy game at all against Rotherham. The derby sort of, the fact that it's a derby fixture is also going to have to play in it, but the fact that Michael Smith has got 5 goals this season, 3 assists, he is a massive threat, and I'm going to come on to him later on because that is how they play and it's how Leeds have to counteract it, but we will see if they have or they will do so. So where can Leeds win? Well, we're top of the league, and we're top of the league for a reason. We've been playing some scintillating stuff this season. We've been sexy on the ball, been aggressive off the ball. We are an excellent team this season. We're very good away from home. I think we've got the best away record in the division, potentially joint with Norwich. I'm not 100% sure. But essentially, the quality of our squad is a hell of a lot better than the quality of Rotherham's squad. And you know, even if you look to last season, when we didn't have Bielsa, our squad was still light years ahead of Rotherham. So Bielsa on top of that, Jack Clark amidst the squad as well. It's going to be, you know, the squad has gone onto a different level. So I'm really looking forward to playing them. But they do struggle to defend against quality players. I was watching the game last week. You had Sergi Canos, Rico Henry. You had Romain Sawyers, Neil Maupay really going at the back line alongside Ben Rama. And they really, really struggled. I think most teams in the Championship would struggle against that. But the skillful players in the middle of the park, they sort of had Romain Sawyers on the ball a lot, and he was playing in the middle of the park, and they really struggled. Everything was going through Sawyers, so something similar could happen with Pablo Hernandez, but Leeds have just got to make sure they get the ball to him, and hopefully he can spread the ball out wide to Jack Clark very quickly, very efficiently, and then Clark can do his business on the wing. And the reason I mentioned Jack Clark is because amidst the interest this week, Rotherham really struggle on the wings. They concede a lot of goals from the wing play. They've not got decent full-backs. And it's one of those things where if Leeds are able to exploit that, get a young Jack Clark who's got interest from around the world for him, going at their left back, their right back potentially, I think they really are going to struggle. And it could be a game as well that Jack Harrison could come into the fray really. Against the poorer sides, you have seen a better Jack Harrison when he's been given his chance. I allude to Preston there where he was absolutely phenomenal, really unlucky to get a goal. But against the Rotherham side, as I've said, who struggle to deal with skillful players, struggle to deal with pace, Leeds really can exploit that. But the reason I mention this as well is there's got to be a good end product. Jack Harrison, for me, there was 12 crosses into the box against Stoke, 12 very poor crosses. And Leeds' ideology going into that game, I don't know if it was set up that way, but it was really, really poor. We were playing against a team in Stoke who had Shawcross, Martin Zindi, Williams, all across the back line, just nodding the ball out every single time. Then you've got Kim Roof trying to beat win headers against 6'5", 6'4" players, which just isn't going to happen. So it really does worry me in a sense that Leeds' sort of game plan was thrown out the window when we went 1-0 down. And to be honest, throughout the game, there was a lot of crosses. I think there was 23 crosses into their box. No joy from Leeds at all. The only real joy, I guess, element of joy was Luke Haley's header, which Jack Butler made a fantastic save, and that's England quality. That's what you're going to get from teams like Stoke, who have those quality players in their side. But I think Leeds have got to get more of a grip of this game. I think there's got to be a better mentality going into the game. I thought we were slack in comparison to Derby. We were second to every ball. So that's got to change. It's got to change against the Rotherham side, who, yes, they might not have the quality, but they always play to their strengths. And as I've said, 3 losses in 14 at home. They're going to be well up for it, and it's a derby game. At their place, at the New York Stadium, it's never been easy for Leeds. It's never, ever been easy. I remember when Antonucci scored there, and we went on to lose that game. It's never been an easy place to go. And, you know, the people who were saying we're going to slap Stoke 3 or 4-0 last week, it's sort of frustrating how that is a sort of thought process. I understand being positive, but you've also got to be realistic as well. Going to somewhere like Stoke, it's never going to be easy. New manager, sell out, the stadium's very, very noisy, and a lot of my mates who went down to the game said it's the noisiest stadium they've been to this season, and Stoke have had that reputation in the Premier League as well. Rotherham, it's not going to be similar to the New York Stadium, but they do create a little atmosphere. It's a little ground, but they do create an atmosphere, and there's going to be a massive contingency of Leeds fans there as well. So we've got to do it for them, haven't we? But as I've said, they struggle to defend against pace on the wings, which is where we've really got to target Rotherham. And they don't hold on to the ball for long. But I think they've made that League One to Championship transition where you get a lot of League One teams who come into this division and they don't really play football because they've not got the quality of players. They've just come up from League One. They've still got that League One budget, and they try and manage their first season in the Championship. And a lot of teams do that really well, but the only team I've really seen come up and still play football from League One to the Championship, have made that transition seamlessly, have been Sheffield United. So when you look at a Rotherham team, they're just doing what they can do. And we know exactly what they can do. It's going to be long balls, it's going to be free kicks, it's going to be throw-ins. They've got the big man up front. So how do Leeds defend against that? Well, this is after the press conference from Marcelo Bielsa. So I'll be able to say, if you've not seen it yet, then you can keep watching. I'll sort of speak to you about the news. Alluding to Michael Smith, as again, the big man up front. They get someone like him, Ajayi, Sean Raggett in the box. That's what they do. They get people like that in the box for every throw-in, every free kick, every corner. And that's what I find interesting about Rotherham. Even when they've got a throw-in, they seem to put all the big men in there, even if they're susceptible to the counter-attack. And maybe potentially that's why they concede a lot of goals, but they will put all the big men into the box for even a throw-in. So Leeds are going to have to defend against that. We're going to have to defend against that efficiently. And this is where I move on to my main point, really. So Rotherham play to that. So it's sort of a Route 1 mentality, but they do it very, very well. So who would you start? Well, it's come out in Marcelo Bielsa's press conference that KP will start centre-half, and I'm going to go on a whim here, and a lot of you might not like it, but I think it's a big mistake. I think it's a big mistake tactically. I'm not Bielsa, but I'm entitled to my opinion. You guys are entitled to opinions, so get your opinions in the box below, please. I love reading them. I read every single comment. Also, if you haven't, please like the video. But I think it's a big mistake. I think Halme has come on leaps and bounds. I think he looks excellent on the ball. I think he looks excellent in the air. He's come on. He's played sort of massive part in the Sheffield United game where he kept McGoldrick quiet, kept Sharp quiet for the entire game. Didn't get enough credit for that. I thought when he came on against QPR, when Matt Smith, the big man, came on, I thought he was excellent against Matt Smith. Matt Smith didn't create anything, wasn't able to do anything. That's because Halme did a fantastic job on him, and very cool on the ball as well. He won the ball numerous times. I remember one time as well, very maturely, Smith went up for the header, little nudge in the back from Halme, chests it down, plays it out wide. Very mature beyond his years, and it was an excellent coup from Victor Orta to bring him in, as well as Jordan Stevens from Forest Green last year, in last January. So excellent bit of recruitment there. But focusing on the game a little bit more, I think KP struggled against Matt Smith, and I think that's why Halme was brought on. And Michael Smith is pretty much the exact same blueprint as Matt Smith. He's a big burly lad. He's 6'5". He wins headers. Half his goals this season have been headers. And that's who they play to. That's their main man. He's sort of our Pablo Hernandez, but it's obviously a different variation of football in the aspect of we love to pass it, they love to sort of launch it up. but it works, it's effective, and they're doing okay this season, Rotherham. I really think that they will survive, but KP did struggle against Matt Smith, as I've just alluded to, and it's physics, it's logic. He's too tall for him. You know, he's about 7 inches taller than him. Phillips only sits at sort of 5'9", 5'10". So what I do worry about is it is a derby occasion, and I think everyone's going to be up for it. I think Leeds are going to be up for it. Rotherham are definitely going to be up for it. Obviously, it's at home. They've got a decent home record, and that's how they play. So is Phillips going to be able to cope with that? He's going to be excellent from the back, as he always is. He's excellent on the ball. But when Rotherham come forward, is he going to be able to cope with someone like a Michael Smith? And what Michael Smith will do is he'll lean on Phillips. You know, Cooper will probably be the main man who tries to mark him, but what a smart big striker will do is they'll lean on the smaller man. You know, so we'd never really had that problem when Berardi was in there. You know, we did against Borough, but he was excellent, and he's a very different sort of player at the back to Phillips. But I think that'd have come to bite Berardi in the arse as well, because I think someone like a Matt Smith or a Michael Smith, it's so difficult for a smaller man to be able to deal with someone like that. And then they can bring everybody else into play as well. What Rotherham like to do is the ball smacks off Michael Smith, then you'll get a Will Volks coming in. You know, and that's he sort of just plays like a little bit behind the striker. Sometimes he bombs, he's box to box, and that's what they do. That's how they play. So it does worry me a little bit, and I think it could be a potential mistake. I'm going to go out on a whim. I hope we go out and we beat them 3 or 4-0, and Phillips is excellent, but it's not his fault. That's not his position. And for me, I'd have started Halme centre back. I think he's definitely worth the chance, and I'd have put Shackleton right back. So I don't think Ayling's been very good so far, and I'd have put Phillips just screening that back four, and I think this could potentially be a mistake, because I think Cleek needs a bit of a rest as well, and I think if you have Forshaw and Phillips in that middle, I think that potentially they could create more as well. Maybe have Forshaw a little bit further forward, like he was in pre-season, like Bielsa wants him to do throughout the season. And I don't know, I think potentially it could be a mistake, but hopefully I'm wrong. But we have to win. There's no excuses. We have to win this game. We're top of the league. Rotherham are struggling, you know, but we've had 4 out of 5 losses. But teams that get promoted win games like this. You know, if the Wolves had gone to Rotherham last season, it'd have been 2 or 3-0. It'd have been a comprehensive victory. Brighton the season before, Newcastle the season before, they'd have won at grounds like this. And if we lose this game, I don't agree with Marcelo when he says that it's not a must-win game. I think we lose this game and doubts start to creep in, 100%. Rotherham aren't a decent side, they're not on our level. So if they manage to win this game, I think you've got to question Leeds' mentality. Because even with the amount of numbers we have out at the minute, we have a better starting 11, a much better starting 11 than Rotherham. But the under-23s game looked like a massive success for me. As I've said, I thought Halme had a really good game. I thought Kiko Casilla looked very, very good, looked very composed, looked good from corners and set pieces. He's a commanding, demanding individual, looks like a leader as well, talks a lot, which I like. It's been confirmed by Bielsa that he will start this weekend, which is an excellent move. So I guess there's positives and negatives. Phillips back in the squad, big thumbs up. Kiko Casilla back in starting 11, big thumbs up. But for me, a massive, massive thumbs down is KP starting at centre half and Halme been outside the squad. So like this video, guys, make sure you check out all the lads' previews, which is going to be out later on. Make sure you check out that little video skit that I did before. It'll give you a little bit of motivation for the weekend. It's probably one of the best things I've done, so make sure you check that out, give that a like. Do you think Bielsa's made a mistake? Do you think we're going to this game a little bit handicapped by putting sort of a shorter man against, let's say, a Michael Smith? Let me know all your thoughts in the section below, guys, and I'll see you in a bit.